Here we are. Yes.
Yeah. Well, hello everybody. Oh no, why are we it look like I'm on a delay. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of On the Line. As I told y'all before, the reason why we're doing On the Line is because we are still in the process of putting Chris Avalon Unfiltered together. So we're basically working on that, and once we get all that situated, then we will have an official show. So it is coming this month. I should point that out. Hold on, let me refresh for a second. See if hello. Okay, well, we just gonna pipe through and just hope for the best. Yeah, 'cause I'm like, yeah. So what's going on? It's your boy Chris. We got a lot of topics to get to today. You know, I was scrolling on social media literally seconds before the show, and I had no idea. What is today's date? The 10th. 2 days ago, was the 30th birthday of RuPaul's debut album, Supermodel of the World. I'm gagging. I'm like, damn, that album came out 30 years ago. Mother has been around for a long time. Like, her career spans literally 3 decades, because I think when that album came out, it was like when her career started to blossom. And we all know the story of RuPaul, if you've seen all the little documentaries and things that she's done over the years. But yeah, 93 is when his career blew up, and Supermodel of the World was the debut album. So congratulations to her. I actually watched RuPaul's Drag Race earlier, where they did the Joan Crawford unauthorized rusical. And then they did but then the runway category was Night of 1,000 Grace Jones. Grace Jones is having a bit of a renaissance, no pun intended, as of late, because I told you I was mad that I didn't know she performed at the Hammerstein last week. I wanted to go to that. And I've been seeing her a lot of places. Beyonce had worked with her. She actually has a song on the new Janelle Monáe album. Bitch, can I tell you? If y'all have not heard this new Janelle Monáe album, y'all need to get into it, because Janelle is definitely in my life. And I have to be honest, you could definitely see that she was influenced by Grace Jones in a lot of her earlier work when she did the Arc Android and all that other stuff. This is off topic. This wasn't even part of the show, but it just so happens my brain is going there. But since it's going there, let's go there, yeah. So one of the things I loved is that, Janelle Monáe was deeply inspired by Grace Jones. Many people have been inspired by Grace Jones. She's a fierce bitch, and we can't hate on that. But what I actually loved was the fact that with this album, it's like she's embracing her womanness, even though Janelle identifies as non-binary, so they them pronouns. I love the fact that they have embraced a lot of their femininity. I remember I saw Janelle recently did an interview where she was so much they love their breasts. They didn't love them at first, and I think like a lot of people, which is why I definitely see why they've been exposing them on magazine covers and this, that, and the third. I know a lot of people always talk about, well, y'all need to be out here exploiting y'all sex and showing y'all body parts. Okay, y'all need to get the prude sticks out your behind, because we're gonna be talking about some pushing boundaries of sex when we get to Madonna and Sam Smith's new song Vulgar. But sometimes it takes people a long time to embrace their beauty or their body parts or certain physicalities, and the way to embrace it is to own it, and to own it is to expose it. And if she feels comfortable, they feel comfortable enough to expose their boobs and this and that, I'm here for it. Child, I listened to Janelle Monáe album. They almost made me want to eat some cooch. But anyway, so shout out to Janelle. If y'all have not heard their new album, it's out now. Definitely check it out because it's good and it's got a lot of bops on it. But anyway, because I wasn't really feeling Janelle at first at the beginning of the career and all that other stuff, but now it's like, I don't know. For some reason, the music has gotten to me. Maybe I wasn't ready for it. Sometimes it'd be like that. But anyway, so let's get right to the show. So prior to all of this, I told y'all that I was going to, in last week's episode, that I was going to be going to Queen's Pride. And I went, and I had a great time. I went there early. It took them forever to start. Like, we didn't really start the march until around 12 because we had to get everything together. Because shout out to ACQC, that's my old job. They're sponsors of Queen's Pride. So every time y'all get to go to Queen's Pride, you need to thank them. They also, there was a question that was asked to the person who runs the ACQC company now, who is Rosemary Rodriguez. I've known her for over 20 years. Oh no, he pulled up my pictures, bitch. Yes, honey, you better work. That's my friend Vincent. I've known him for a long time. We actually met in before I started working at ACQC, when I was coming to terms with the fact that I liked penis. My mother recommended me to like a men's group, and he was actually one of the guys that was in my group, and I became friends with a lot of people in the group. I could have took more pictures, but I was so focused on like the march and shouting and talking about we want equality and we want it now. We want a cure for AIDS and we want it now. Yeah, that was me. No justice, no peace. I was getting my out chopped and on, blowing the whistle, waving, the flag and all other stuff. Shout out to all the trans girls that live out in Queens that was out there and, on the float and stuff. My mother was actually there too. She was on the float and she was trying to give me the corner flag. I was like, nah, I'll walk. Cause it's New York. I don't mind walking. But anyway, so I had a great time. The great thing about the parade, and I have to say, out of all the pride parades, I particularly love Queen's Pride because it feels more intimate and it feels more like, it just feels intimate. I guess that's the right word to use. So I love the fact of just like the intimacy of Queen's Pride and the fact that I knew so many people and I ran into so many people that I knew. But then I realized it started to get really packed. And I think it was probably because I'm thinking maybe it was the pandemic. Like after COVID, everybody wanted to be out of the house. So it feels like there's some sense of normalcy. And I want to give a shout out to Kimberly Richardson too for Channel 7 Eyewitness News. She was there too. So when I was walking down when we were getting, the floats and everything out in the street and we were going to go do the march, I was like, oh, look, it's Channel 7 Eyewitness News. And Vincent actually called her a different. I saw, first of all, that is Kimberly Richardson. You tried it. And I knew Kimberly because when she, when I used to work at Chelsea, when we were doing the monkeypox, she was covering it. And she was, trying to come in and get information. This and third. We couldn't really talk about what was going on with the whole monkeypox situation. Quiet as this kept. The people that was working with the monkeypox didn't know what the fuck they was doing or what they was about anyway. So we couldn't really like go in and be talking anyway. We could not talk to the press. I wasn't talking to the press. I was minding my damn business. But she was there for that. And then I saw her again. She had a knee brace on. So I'm like, what happened to her? I was wondering what happened to the knee. She had sneakers on and a knee brace. Probably it was an injury, or sometimes, when you are of a certain age, if you're on your feet all the time, things start to hurt. So shout out to her. It was a great time. The music was great. The food was good. There was a lot of eye candy, child. I even considered like, do I want to live in I moved like to Jackson Heights, whatever. But then, funnily enough, people started talking to me and they were like, no, I don't see you as a Jackson Heights girl. I don't see you as an Elmhurst girl. I see you more as Long Island City and Astoria, which I found hilarious that people know my taste level. Like they would know what type of area that I would look good living in. So that would be like Astoria, Jackson Heights. So shout out to him. Oh, and there was an incident. I almost got into a fight. Hold on, please hold. I need some water. So the fight came because there was a person, I don't know if he was a volunteer or if he actually worked for the company. He worked at one of the other locations at ACQC. But anyway, so there was a thing that they were doing. I didn't know because I was hanging out with a couple of my friends and we were doing the whole walk around. I was smoking that good old RHONJ and drinking and kind of just hanging about, seeing the festivities and taking in the festivities. Shout out to Josie Monroe too. I ran into her too. She's a girl who I've known for a long time through ACQs and stuff, and she came up to me and she was like, sometimes not sure if it's people when I meet them. That's why I think people look at me weird, or they think I'm a little standoffish, or I look at them weird when I encounter them, because sometimes I'm trying to remember, like, are you who I think you are? Because Virgos, we do not like making mistakes. We don't like to admit we're wrong, but we will admit it when we need to. So I'll be looking like, are you who I think you are? And then when you come out, it's like, oh, okay, you are who you are. So shout out to her because she was like, oh, I watch your show all the time and I love that you talk about all the celebrities. So bitch, I know when people say these things, it warms my heart because it makes me feel good that for the things that I do. But now to the fight. So when I came back to where ACQC had their tent, because what they were doing on come on, Laganja. So when and the funny thing was it fucked what I was mad about is it fucked up my buzz. So that's what made me more damn tight. So when I came back to the tent area, because they're always like, as soon as you come down to the tents or whatever where everything is laid up, they're always the first tent. They've always had the same spot for years. And shout out to ACQs for getting their award and stuff too. So and CBS was there and Target was there, because CBS are sponsors. They got to go before us. Because people were like, well, if ACQs is a sponsor, why don't they get to go first? And they were like, because the politicians, the people that actually put the money, fund the money into, these parades and organizations stuff, they got to go first. CBS is a part of it, so they got to go first. So they get to go before us. Tarjay was also there too. And before, I know I'm trying to get to the fight, but I like to edge y'all before I like to have y'all bust that good old nut all over the screen. So let me tell you about the whole Target thing. So people was upset that Target was there because the whole controversy surrounding Tarjay and the LGBT paraphernalia and having to be pushed to the back, like black people being pushed to the back of the bus back in the days of Rosa Parks. So it was explained that, okay, yeah, people are upset over that. However, that is not all the targets. That's just a lot of it is happening down south. We got to take the fight to those conservative areas. Now, if they were doing that in New York, then we can go in and let have. But we can't all paint everybody with a broad brush, because a bunch of them ignorant people down in southern red states or states where it's full of, the Trump DeSantis types are going to go ape shit over some LGBT paraphernalia on clothing, because apparently fabric can turn you gay or groom your children, according to the idiots of the world. But anyway, so now to the fight. So the way the situation happened was, I did not know this. So when I came over, there were people trying to cut through where the tent was because it was too many people. They were trying to do shortcuts. So my mother was standing there trying to make sure people wasn't coming through. So that was one thing. Then there were people that were coming through that once they came to the table and they were trying to get people to get tested for HIV and STIs, they would come through the tent to go to the van, which was literally next to the tent, and they were going to get tested so they wouldn't have to go all the way around. There was a miscommunication situation with one of the guys. So the person's coming through. My mother's not knowing what's going on. She's thinking it's just somebody trying to cut through, but he's not communicating that this is the person is coming to get tested. They have to go to the van. So then he goes and says to her, well, do y'all want these people to get tested or not? So y'all need to make up your mind. And I looked at him, bitch. My neck turned like Reagan in The Exorcist. Motherfucker, who are you talking to? With that tone, you better check it. And I was literally about to whip his ass up in there. Them people knew. because I work with that company, so they know my temper. And it's like, I had to check him. But what made it, what kind of angered me was the fact that my mother goes and tries to explain to him what was going on and trying to make right of the situation. And the thing that really pissed me off, when I was about to go ham on that motherfucker, was when she's talking to him and he turns his back to her like, bitch, don't even talk to me. And I'm looking at him like, oh no. So now you really trying to play me up in here. Like, you really try my patience. So I was saying to her, I said to her, I was like, why are you even addressing this? I went off with the cussing in the mouth. You know, once I go off and I see red, that's it. There's no coming back from that. I'm working on the whole temper situation. I really am. So, oh, and that's a good thing about this. Like, when people try to come for people, I can always, you know, I got a platform, so I can put their ass on blast. I don't know their name. I give two shits. All I know was the non-factor. When it comes down to things, you need to check yourself and don't be sitting there disrespecting people because whatever attitude you got, you just need to check it. Or you need to communicate better and not try to come off and try to be nasty. Because if you're going to be nasty, then I'm going to be nasty back. My mother's not going to be all, you know, crazy with the mouth and this and the other. I've noticed that over the years, she's become way more reserved. And I be looking at her like, ma'am, I need that old you to come back. I'm trying to recruit the old her, where she used to cuss people out. But you know, she's a Christian, she's saved, all that good stuff. So it's hard to get them to come back to that. But me, I ain't saved from shit. So if you're not going to do it, I will. But anyway, overall, besides that little situation, I had a great time. I enjoyed the festivities. Shout out to all the people that I saw. Then I saw on social media there were people that I knew that were there and I didn't run into them. So I apologize that I wasn't able to run into a lot of people. But I was there since literally like 10 in the morning. And I left around maybe 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And I know a lot of people started coming in around that time. I wasn't trying to be out there all night, especially when I had to work the next day. So, yeah, shout out to them. I'll be there next year. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to be doing like the main one. I can't do Manhattan Pride no more. It just be too much. It's too much for my anxiety. I get more stressed out because of the traffic and trying to get through all those metal situations. Like, I can't do it. So, I'm pretty much done with the whole mainstream Pride, the main Pride, Manhattan Pride. And shout out to all the people that was at Brooklyn Pride today, because I know my friend Justice actually performed at Brooklyn Pride. So shout out to him. I haven't heard anything else. Oh, I know Moby, M-O-B-I, is that how you say their name? They're having their annual event today. There's a lot going on. Mariah Carey's about to perform, or she probably is performing as we do this show over in LA Pride. Megan Thee Stallion performed last night. We're going to get into that in a second because she may have a collab. The word on the curb is she may have a song with Madonna coming out because she performed a Vogue matchup where she rapped over the beat or something or another. So there was a bit of that, but so rumors are swirling that she may have done a song with Madonna. Madonna's getting around. Apparently she's collaborating with everybody. And if Nicki Minaj want to get upset, bitch, you better not, because you know the Madonna fans will come for you. You think the Barbs are bad? The Rebel Hearts are worse. Just saying. Okay, so besides Queen's Pride, I also went to the movies. And I went to see the new Transformers movie. Now, here's the funny part. I didn't even know it was coming out this week until a friend of mine told me, oh, I'm going to go see the Transformers. I'm like, how? The movie's out? Because I'm so confused. Like, there's so much going on with movies. A lot of times, I don't even know what week it is. A lot of times. I just think the time be blurring. Every week, they're trying to shove a movie in IMAX and Dolby. So, I don't know. I just think like the theaters are oversaturated now because, you know, what happened with the pandemic and COVID and stuff. Like, I remember before there was always little gaps in between. Like, you at least had a good 2 weeks or week and a half before you could, you know, then moved on and put the next big movie in IMAX. Now it's every week. Because last week was Spider-Man. Week before that was Little Mermaid. Week before that, I think it was Fast and the Furious, which Fast and the Furious is already available on digital download. Like, you could rent it and buy it already. And the movie just came out this month, didn't it? So there's really no point of going to the movies, it seems, at this point. But I think it was because Fast and the Furious was bleeding out money. They were losing money anyway. I told you, American audiences is over that damn franchise. You could sell that shit to China to the cows come home, but at this point, I think American audience is just over Vin Diesel and that whole Fast and Furious and the bullshit stunts in that film. But anyway, so I went to go see Fast X, and I mean, not Fast X, Transformers. What am I talking about? I liked it. I thought it was really, 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 really good. And I have to say, shout out to Anthony Ramos. Child, I already told you, that's my husband. I have many husbands. In case y'all didn't know, but Anthony Ramos is definitely one of them. Seeing him on the big screen, I just love the fact that we're seeing people of color finally having their due in the mainstream and like on the big screen and stuff. And if people want to start that woke bullshit, go suck a dick, suck 1,000 of them. Because white people should not be the only ones that have a moment on TV or to be on the big screen or to lead a franchise. So for those of you who are not aware of what the film is about, it is basically the 7th installment in the Talking Robots franchise. And they're saying it's the beginning of a new generation of Transformers movies, which I do think that they need to reboot the franchise, because honestly, I did not like the Michael Bay Transformer films. The only one of his that I liked was the first one with Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox. The first one I liked because it kind of gave us the Bayisms, all the blowing up stuff, the action sequences, the special effects was awesome for the time, and all that good stuff. The sequels, I could not stand them. It felt, especially when the comedic robots that they had up in there, it sounded very step and fetch it, very racist, very stereotypical. If you watch back on them, I already know the woke ones, the ones that, not the woke ones, but the ones that sit up here and talk about stuff and stereotype, they ain't gonna they'll call out the bullshit. I mean, we've had people talk about that over the years, but I did not like a lot of the Michael Bay movies. So for me, the first Transformers, Bumblebee, which took place, I think, in the 80s, which came out a couple of years ago. And this one, I feel like those are my top 3 Transformers movies. So if you have not seen this film, definitely go out and see it. But before, anything, we should just talk about what it's about. So the film takes place in 1994 in Brooklyn, which I love because, first of all, it's nostalgia. I was a kid in 94. I lived in Queens at the time. And it kind of took me back because it was just like cable boxes, a lot of like Poetic Justice, Notorious B.I.G. He was popular in those times. They were playing Wu-Tang, like a lot. It just made me feel nostalgic. The soundtrack alone was what really got me. But anyway, so Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback are in the film. So he plays Noah Diaz, who is trying to get a job as a security guard, but because of his past in the military and this and the third, people was like, oh, he doesn't come across as a team leader, which is similar to him and Optimus Prime, because in the prequel, Optimus Prime had his issues or whatever that was going back where they got stuck on Earth, and he felt like he blamed himself for why they were trapped on Earth. But and then Dominique Fishback plays Elena Wallace, who works at a museum, who discovers this key that basically is from the Transformers, where they can go back. It's a key that can help them go back to their old world. But if this planet devouring transformer called Unicron gets a hold of the key allows him to come and eat a bunch of, he's an eater of worlds, which I did not even know that was Coleman Domingo that was playing the villain in the film Unicron, because I was like trying to recognize the voice was deep, but I was like, oh, Coleman Domingo, yes, honey. But I have to say, the person who stole the film for me, Optimus Prime was in there, yet Optimus Primal was played by Ron Perlman, but Pete Davidson as Mirage was basically the comedic force for me. I loved Pete Davidson being in the film. His appearance in his part in this movie felt way more warranted than that stupid cameo they had him in with Fast X. Like that scene was just unnecessary. But I have to say, I loved him as Mirage in this film. And see Anthony Ramos and the whole situation with him, it's like he's going through, he's trying to get a job to help his mother out. The mother has a job. I believe she works as a nurse. She also goes to night school, so she's trying to make ends meet. His younger brother, Chris, has sickle cell anemia, so he's going through it with medical issues and this, that, and the third. So he's trying to help out with that. They're falling behind on bills, so they're struggling. And then it comes this opportunity where he gets caught up with trying to help the Transformers because he tries to steal a car, a Porsche, which turns out to be Mirage, and then he gets caught up in this fight between, you know, the between the Autobots, and you know, everything else. So, one of the things I have to say, and I don't know if y'all want spoilers, so you might want to have to turn away from this, but I particularly loved the post-credit scene because, you know, the rumors were always going to be that there was going to be a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover. And when you see the post-credit scene, they pretty much imply that they're going to be putting Transformers and G.I. Joe together in a movie. And I'm here for it. And I'll tell you why. And the way that they wrote it into the script definitely worked. It didn't feel forced, where they're trying to create all these little spin-offs with other programs like Fast X. Certain things felt forced. It didn't feel like it was earned. It felt like it was earned in this film. And how they introduced it is because, like I said it before, that Noah is trying to get a job as, you know, as a security guard, and he was in the army. So with them trying to interject that way, he went from a person who couldn't get a job to being offered one of the most prestigious jobs in the world by you know, offering him one of the greatest jobs in the world, and that's working as part of G.I. Joe. So I don't know which character he'll play. He'll probably play like he'll probably just play like a self-created character, which I don't mind that. I don't mind that they'll interject someone who is a brand new character in a world with pre-existing characters. Like, you know, he interacts with Cobra Commander, he interacts with Duke, he interacts with Ripcord, Storm Shadow, Baroness, all those other characters from G.I. Joe. So if they could do that, kind of like what they did with, well, not really, Cole Young in the Mortal Kombat films, his character felt unnecessary to the franchise. But if you want to take more of a Cole Young aspect and interject this new character, a Noah Diaz, into this world with these other, you know, superheroes like G.I. Joe, then to me that will work, because it's like you're the outsiders coming into this world with these characters that pre-existed during my childhood. Because when I was a kid, I had Transformers, I had Voltron, I had G.I. Joe, I had the A-Team, I had the van and everything. So yeah, it's like I miss those days. Like, we had great action figures when I was a kid. And I have to say, one of the things when you watch this movie, it will definitely make you feel nostalgic. It'll make you feel like a little kid. And that's what I thoroughly enjoyed about it. Like, it literally took me back to my childhood. And I even choked up at one point. There's a scene, you'll know it when you see it, where I cried. Sort of. A little tear came out. But it was in the third act. I'll just say that much. But yeah, so I highly recommend Transformers. Definitely go out and see it. And I don't know how they're gonna do it, if they're gonna bring any of the characters back, like Channing Tatum. Wait, didn't they kill Channing Tatum's character off in the sequel? But anyway, how they'll go about doing the whole Transformers G.I. Joe crossover, but I'm here for it. And if they get the same guy that did this movie to come aboard and help with that whole cinematic universe, I'm here for it, because he directed Creed 2, the director of this Transformers movie. So it's definitely something that I want to see. It's definitely something I want to check out. And yeah, so if you guys are feeling a little skeptical about going to see this new Transformers movie, trust me. Michael Bay is a producer. He's not a director. So his stench is not on this damn film. It's actually a good movie, and it's something that they'll recommend. And even the corny jokes work, surprisingly. And I love the fact that Pete Davidson even makes a joke about a corny joke. He's like, well, his Mirage. He was like, that sounded corny as it was coming out of my mouth. So I like the whole idea of the whole, you know, self-deprecating, self-awareness, that sort of thing. So definitely, if you're feeling a little skeptical about trying to check out this movie and going to see it, in theaters, definitely go check it out this weekend and help this movie do well, so that way it can get a sequel, because you know what, we need people of color. And yeah, we need those franchises, especially pertaining people of color. And I'm not just saying that because it's like, oh well, we just need to support for that reason. No, that's not what I'm saying. It helps because, you know, a lot of times when they put people of color at the forefront of a movie, if it doesn't do well, they Hollywood feels, oh, there's no audience for that. Y'all don't care about it. Even if it could just be the movie sucks. But I feel like because Michael Bay did what he did with the franchise, damn near ruined the Transformers, people are a little skeptical. They don't know whether or not they want to go and put their money behind seeing this movie. And it could also be that we're oversaturated with films, that people are being picky and choosy as to what they want to go into a theater and see. But I did hear that the box office so far is neck and neck with Transformers and Spider-Man. So they're both kind of neck and neck with the box office results. So it might actually do well this weekend. It wasn't packed when I went to the theater yesterday, and I think it was because it could have been an early show. I went to the 5 o'clock show. I literally had the entire row to myself, row L, except then 4 more people came in, so I had 4 people in my row. But it wasn't that packed, and I'm thinking it was probably because it was early and a lot of people couldn't get off of work. But as I was leaving the theater, I did see it was getting a little packed up in there. So I'm thinking that maybe people waited for the later shows. But I'm hoping it does well this week. I'll definitely keep track of the box office, let you know how it does. All right, so now we go on from Transformers to talk about Madonna and the fact that she and Sam Smith may have the WAP of 2023. So Madonna revealed on her Instagram that when she was, you know, because she's still in rehearsals for her upcoming tour, she's basically played her dancers the Vulgar song that she has with Sam Smith. And yeah, so Sam not only has a hit with Kim Petras, I believe that basically they will have a hit with Madonna, with Vulgar being, you know, the WAP of 2023. And I called it the bastard sibling to Holy Water and Vogue, because it basically gave me that vibe, that it was very much, it's got this whole bitch track vibe with these Mediterranean type of, Middle Eastern Mediterranean type of music thrown in. I like the song. My only problem is the same problem I have with Kylie Minogue's latest single, and then the fact is that it's too short. That's my main issue with Vulgar. Other than that, it's a cute song. I know it's her basically thumbing her or giving the middle finger to a lot of the prudes and the conservatives who continue to criticize her for being a woman of a certain age and being comfortable in her sexuality. And I'm here for it. Sam Smith's been called an abomination and all this other stuff. Madonna's been called every name in the book because she wants to continue to express how sexual she is at 64. And who says you had to stop at a certain age? See, this is ongoing thing. And shout out to Lanier, because I saw something that he posted earlier on his page, which said that because he's in his 50s, and bitch, he wears well, I might add. He says he's having the best sex of his life now than he did when he's in his 20s and 30s, because there's this ongoing thing, especially in our society, where people believe that we put so much emphasis on youth and the fact that as someone who is young and in their 20s, that you have to exercise all your sexual demons before you hit 30, because then when you hit 30, then it's like, oh, you're supposed to just wither up and fall over and die. It's like, no, I should be able to continue to live my best life and be a sexual being. Why does that have to stop? Because, I'm a certain age. I wanted to pull that up because he said, because I wanted to give you all the context, because it kind of falls into this whole thing of Madonna. So he was like, I feel so sorry for the sex lives of gay 20-somethings, for I am having sexual adventures at 52 that #gay media brainwashes gays into thinking that you must make happen before you're 30. So once they hit 30, even if they're single, many will leave themselves less open to such adventures happening for them, living vicariously through 20-somethings by way of porn and crowding them at sex parties and back rooms. It's probably why I have so much casual sex with 20-somethings, not to ride on their youth coattails, but because if I do get someone closer to my age, they treat the adventure as a fluke, like they are not worthy of it happening to them. That's depressing to see, be you at that age group or not. And funnily enough, I've kind of had that mentality as well. Not the fact of, oh, I should feel privileged that happens. Look, I have at my age, and I ain't telling y'all. I've had kids who are younger, like in their 20s and stuff, hitting on me and this, that, and the third. I've had plenty of guys that still slide in my DMs. Not that I'm dead or anything, but the reality is that yeah, we shouldn't feel like at a certain age, and I think it's a society thing where we should just wither up and die. And I like the song, and I feel like, you know what, let Sam Smith express themselves however they want to express themselves, but I feel like it needs to come from a place of authenticity. Don't just do it because you want to piss people off, or you want to push buttons or be provocative for provocative's sake. Like, if you really feel it in your bones that you want to address things or continue to flaunt and be sexual and unapologetically yourself, then go ahead and do that. Fuck what other people think, but don't just be out here doing it because you feel like you got something to prove. Because a lot of times when I see what Sam Smith does, I don't feel like it's truly them. I feel like that you're trying to force this thing and it's not you being authentic, because I'm all about the authenticity when it comes to artistry and creativity, and I wasn't buying it from this current, Gloria era. But overall, I say, like, you know what, as long as you got breath in your body, continue to be sexual, continue to explore your sexuality, because you never know. Isn't there a study that says that women have their sexual awakening in like their 40s? So I don't understand why people would feel like at a certain age they should just stop excuse me, being sexual. I don't get that. But shout out to Madonna, shout out to Sam Smith. Is there a video? Because all I know is I heard the song. I actually got the song sent to me. Shout out to Felix, who sent it to me way early, so I got to hear it before everybody else, because I guess it leaked. So I love when y'all be sliding hidden, tracks in my DMs. But Madonna's been busy. So I heard the song. I thought it was cute, but I was, like I told her, I was mad because it was short. It's like literally 3 minutes. A little less than that, but 3 minutes is like the clock time. And she's got some songs with Christine and the Queens that was sent to me. It's all over YouTube if y'all want to check it out. And then she allegedly has a song with Megan Thee Stallion. And like I said, if Nicki Minaj get mad, girl, have a seat, because you did enough songs with Madonna. You did the I Don't Give a song with her. You did Give Me All Your Lovin' with her and MIA. I hate that song, by the way. I just hate the song, period. But I understand why they did it. It was for the Super Bowl, all that stuff, but I hate that song. So they've collaborated on quite a few songs together. And if Madonna wants to collaborate with other female rappers, then she should be able to. She grown. She an icon. So anyway, so shout out to them. And she said the song actually came about when what was it? When right after the Grammys. She said after the whole Grammy situation, they recorded the song. So this song's been like cooking for 3 months, ready to be released. So shout out to them. I wonder if he'll add it to the tour, and if Madonna will add it to her tour. I guess we'll find out next month when she officially kicks off that world tour. And is Sam Smith still like dealing with vocal cord issues? Our minds want to know. But anyway, let's move on. And let's talk about Wendy Wiliams. How you doing? I know it's been a minute since we were told about Miss Wendy, but she's back in the news. And there's some drama going on between her and now her son. I know it was people before that was always talking about, oh, well, Tommy was always out here telling her business, this, that, and the third. But now Lil Kev has did an exclusive sit-down interview with the son. And he's spilling tea. Tea even came out today. Well, yesterday, technically. I'll say Friday. But I worked on it this morning when I got up. So Wendy Williams' son Kevin Jr. is breaking his silence and speaking out against her team, who he feels is taking advantage of his mother. He also feels that her battle with alcoholism may soon turn fatal. Now, shout out to Radar Online for this story. The 22-year-old who she shares with Kevin Hunter, her ex-husband, by the way, further claimed that his mother's history with substance abuse and her other ongoing health problems have made it easier for some of those closest to her to take advantage. Saying, I know there are all sorts of things happening that I know in her right mind she would never agree to, he said in an interview with The Sun. As hard as it is seeing her being taken advantage of, I know that if I'm making sure she, as a person, is okay, that that is the important thing, because eventually she's going to realize the craziness that's been going on. What's been made more important by the people around her is that while her health may not be great, she needs to keep on earning income. And in my opinion, that should not be a priority at all, he continued. And whoever has been hired, they're taking advantage of someone who needs to get better. Now, in regards to her use of alcohol, Kevin claimed her consumption isn't like a normal person, and that has gotten to a point where, yes, it could have that effect, that it might be fatal. Explaining that he has attended medical appointments with her, he noted her doctors allegedly told her that her other health issues cause a compounding effect that changes how her body processes alcohol, saying there are a lot of people who are very aware that this is an issue with her drinking and how that issue may be helped, but I think these people are taking advantage of it while allowing it to play out to make it look like they aren't causing the issue. They had her in a position where she was agreeing to a lot that she shouldn't have. When I heard that turned me off. Kevin also said that he believes a lot of people who insist that they want to help the ailing former talk show host are thinking, okay, she's alone now, let's try to see how we can make her act the way we want her to act, or if we can kind of control the rate at which she's handling herself. You know, I actually had a comment about this when I first heard the story. I was like, well, how come Kevin why hasn't he done all he can to help his mother in this whole situation? Like, why isn't that okay? Like, all this stuff is happening and y'all just run into the press spilling all this tea, which is similar to what, his uncle Tommy has done. And where's Wanda? Like, I don't know what's been going on with Wanda. We know she got a sister, but she's been real quiet in this whole situation. Why hasn't she stepped in? Or maybe she knows her sister well enough to not intervene. I mean, quiet as it's kept, Wendy has shut so many people out of her life and always try to control her own narrative. But the fact of the matter is that it's probably at this point where it's just like, how can people infiltrate the compound? Especially when she's put some of the people who Lil Kev is not that excited to be having around his mother at the helm of everything. So I was wondering, I was like, well, how come he hasn't come in and really tried to intervene and really put his foot down and protect his mother? Well, then this story came out. So, and this is also according to Radar Online. So apparently, Lil Kev said he was threatened to be arrested on kidnapping charges while caring for his mother in Florida. So Kevin Hunter Jr. accused Judge Lisa Sokoloff of threatening him with kidnapping charges if he did not assist in his mother's return to the Big Apple last year. Now, Judge Sokoloff was appointed to oversee Wiliams' guardianship case, which was brought after the former talk show host suffered a series of mental and physical health crises. Or is it crises? Kevin Hunter Jr. revealed how the judge's warning came to be and confessed how scared he was at the time, saying, the judge threatened me with arrest and said I'd be held in contempt if I didn't bring her back to New York, Kevin Jr. told the U.S. Sun. I'm so scared that I haven't really been up there to see her since the court, he explained, referencing Judge Sokoloff's May 2022 ruling, which appointed Sabrina Morrissey permanent guardianship of Wiliams' affairs. When he did attempt to see his mom, Kevin Jr. claimed that Wiliams' legal guardians tried to change things up. When they hear I'm coming to visit, they try to change things up, like they have to prepare for me, he continued, sharing that he wished there was more he could do to help his mother's situation. If there was a way that I could help that wouldn't end up with me being arrested, I would be doing that, Kevin Jr. stated. Now, despite his best wishes, Kevin Jr. was blocked from intervening in decisions relating to his mother's affairs, including her health, due to her court appointed guardianship. Troubled by his mother's condition, Kevin Jr. accused his mother's inner circle of taking advantage of her current state to personally gain from her wealth and celebrity. Now, after Kevin Jr. fired off the scathing accusations, Williams' manager, Will Selby, hit back with a statement to the outlet saying, if your mother was near death, would the first thing you do is call an online publication? This is what he told the U.S. Sun. Okay, so that's all I have to say about that. Somebody did add that he is not here to be combative about whatever allegations he has, and said that Kevin Jr. was entitled to his opinion. Well, you said that after you threw the shade, but okay. So now we're in a situation where the boy feels helpless and he doesn't know what he could do to help his mother, which the manager said that Wendy is doing the best she can, and that she's taking it day by day, and that she's been in and out of health facilities over the past few years. And then he was asking, does anyone even care? I feel like everyone just puts out negative information about her, and that's the focus. Why don't we just stop for a moment and just say, hey, how is she? Is she doing okay today? Well, you know what? First of all, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but we've been asking that question. What's going on with Wendy? Why hasn't Wendy gotten the help she needs? And there's a lot of people I know, whenever I cover this story, people go and say, I'm praying for Wendy, I'm looking out for Wendy, and this, that, and the third. Like, people really have, there's been nothing but positive comments. I mean, I do get a couple of the negative ones where people will say, well, this is her karma because she spent years talking about people and this, that, and the third. That's neither here nor there. We get that. That was her job. She made a living talking about celebrities. Sometimes she went a little too far. I will agree to that. But Wendy is an icon in this, media game. She's inspired many people, including yours truly. But I don't know. I just feel like I feel bad for little Kev because it's like you're her only child and he's sitting there helpless trying to figure out what he could do to help his mother. And the worst part is she's got so many vile people around who are taking advantage of her. He can't turn to his father because the father basically used Wendy all throughout her career. Like, he benefited wholeheartedly from being her manager, ride her coattails. I felt like she gave him the manager job to keep an eye on his ass. Still didn't keep him from cheating with Sharina and getting her knocked up with Journey. So I know you can't trust him. And then I don't know if I would necessarily want little Kev to take over Wendy's affairs, especially at his age, because then you're going to have Kev Sr., in a way, probably try to manipulate the boy and to slide him some of that Wendy coin. So I don't trust all of them wholeheartedly. I don't know if she could turn on her family. I don't know. I just feel like at this point, Wendy has got to come out and do what she can for herself. She's got to be the change she wants to see. They could come and talk to the press till the cows come home. They could do all this other stuff. I don't know at this point. If people out there know about conservatorships and lawyers and all this other shit, if y'all know, they feel like y'all know what she could do, definitely drop your opinions down in the comments. I would love to know what y'all think about this. But I just think it's sad that this is where we are. I've been a Wendy fan for a long time. I never, how did we get here? In the words of Deborah Cox, how did you get here? How did we get here? Inquiring minds want to know, child, because I would have never expected, once Wendy broke off them shackles of that no good ex-husband, that this is where we would be with her career right now, where she's got empty nest syndrome. She's drinking herself into a stupor. She's surrounding herself with freaking vultures who only want her money. How did we get to this point? As usual, I will keep you further abreast of this story. I already know it is not going away anytime soon. I've been covering Wendy and all this drama for 3-4 years? Too damn long. But yeah, I feel bad. I really feel bad that this is where we are, but I really feel bad for little Kev. I don't know if he's got ill intentions, and the third. I don't want to think that way about, a kid towards his mother. I always want to think like most kids um actually are able to get it together. Oh, hey, Victor Yates, how you doing? I thought you would have probably been at celebrating all the festivities at Pride because Miss Mariah's out there performing tonight. But glad you could join us. Yes, I really hope that Wendy gets her life together because um no one deserves this kind of pain and vitriol to be going through. All right, y'all. So let's get into this whole Real Housewives of New Jersey. So I did kind of put it off for the past couple of days. Um, I watched it earlier today, and I'll talk about that in a second. But first, there's a story that's going around about Louis. Oh, damn! How much was those tickets? He said Mariah was too expensive. But anyway, yeah, that's why I can't be doing these Pride festivities where it's like y'all get these big name celebrities that want to show up and perform for us, but then y'all want us to pay like an arm and a leg, or give a damn kidney, or donate blood. Well, we're gay, we can't donate blood. I don't care what the damn things say. To go see an artist perform. I was like, no, I'm good. I'll just let y'all record it with y'all phones and post it on social media, and I watch it that way. Like the $230 plus fees for the they can keep that. Just like what the hell was the thing? There was another it'll come to me. I lost my train of thought. But anyway, let's get into this whole thing. So there's a story that's going around from New Jersey that Louis Ruelas' ex-fiance, Vanessa Reiser, has filed a restraining order against the reality star, who I should point out, Reiser, who is a licensed therapist specializing in narcissistic abuse, was Louis, one of your clients, believes that one of her patients was hired in order to spy on her. Now, shout out to Page 6 of the story. Now, her attorney, Douglas Anton, exclusively spoke to Page 6 and shared that the suspicious sessions began in February, saying that the woman allegedly visited Reiser about 3 or 4 times under a fake name and peculiarly asked about the therapist's past relationship with Ruelas every time. Which is weird. Now, why the hell would a patient ask a therapist about her ex-husband? Some of the alleged usual questions were, do you still live with Louis? How is it with your abuser? And if Ruelas were to leave his wife, Teresa Giudice, show any regret, would you want to be with him? It was weird that she kept asking all of this information, that if Louis ever left his wife and he was unhappy, would I ever take him back? The lawyer asked. Would she ever take him back? The lawyer adds, noting that his client would allegedly steer away from the subject and not so much talk about it. Now, although the question seems intrusive to Reiser, Anton claims they didn't immediately set off alarms because their former relationship, Ruelas, is well documented online. Now, Page 6 exclusively reported in April 2021 that the therapist, who dated the New Jersey-based businessman from 2018 to 2020, once accused him in a lawsuit of punishing her if she did not meet his sexual demands, along with other egregious claims. However, Reiser decided to take legal action against her dubious patient when one of the prepaid cards that she submitted for payment did not go through. Now, after trying to collect the funds for 30 days to no avail, she hired Anton to file a collections request. The New Jersey-based lawyer tells Page 6 it was at this point that he and his team learned that the woman was allegedly not a real patient after all and had been using a fake name during her sessions. Anton says his brilliant staff tracked down the woman's real name via an address she gave, which allegedly linked her to a list of employees for private investigator Bo Dietl. Now, if y'all remember watching the reunion, Bo Dietl allegedly is the one that Louis hired to get information on all the cast, the ones that had a problem with Teresa, apparently, and him. Anton says his brilliant staff tracked down the woman's real name. Okay, we already talked about Dietl's name has come up in the recent season of Real Housewives of New Jersey. However, Dito then publicly denied that he was hired to investigate any of the housewives. When reached by Page Six, the Bo Dito and Associates CEO again reiterated he has never looked into any of the Bravo celebrities, but declined to confirm or deny allegations pertaining to Riser, saying we were never hired by Louis Ruelas to do any backgrounds on any cast members from the Housewives of New Jersey. The retired NYPD detective told Page Six. Now, as far as whether he hired us for potential private investigations, that's confidentiality. Dito adds of his firm, we've been in business for 38 years. We're a very professional, private investigating company, and everything we do is through the laws, and everything we do is above any kind of negativity. However, a source confirms to Page Six that Ruelas hired the PI to protect him and his family, but did not disclose exact details about the investigations. Bo Dito's company was hired to protect Mr. Ruelas and his family, and now includes a total of 6 children from individuals who pose a threat to their well-being. There have been death threats and other threats that have been made that warranted Mr. Ruelas taking protection. Bo has been a tremendous blessing in the lives of Louis Ruelas and his family. And the funny thing was that, before we get to what I was going to say, Anton tells Page Six that he doesn't have any proof that Ruelas hired Dito, and therefore his employee to stalk Riser, but said they hope the reality star will address the allegations at an upcoming hearing for the restraining order. Well, I do remember that Louis does allude to the fact that he knows a lot of things about a lot of the cast and cast members on his show, and brought up Bo Dito's name in the finale, and then is brought up again during the reunion. So I'm sitting there like, how are you bringing up, first of all, how are you even revealing that you had a private investigator looking into cast members and revealing your source, but they said there's a whole lot of legalities and stuff going on. So is Louis a wild card where it's just like you just blurting things out of the mouth because you want to act like you're a mafioso? Word on the street is, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I need somebody to fan out and find this out. Is Louis is he a Scientologist? Because I've heard some tea that he is. And if he is a Scientologist, that is something they do. They look into your backgrounds and this, that, and the other. Because I remember Leah Remini telling stories about that, how when you start to gain suspicion from Scientologists and this, that, and the third, or you do bad, they start to dig into your past. They look for things, and they hire people to follow you and track you, all kinds of crazy shit. So if Louis is a Scientologist, that explains a lot. Also, does that mean that Teresa has to become a Scientologist or convert to Scientology? I wonder if that's the thing. Well, child, if Teresa's all about trying to be a part of a damn cult, girl, I don't think you know what you're getting yourself into. Now, as far as this whole thing, I did see all about the Real Housewives. Did try to post some stuff saying that that Louis' ex-fiance has a past of stalking people and filing fake restraining orders, and had something against not only Louis but an ex before she got with Louis. So they were trying to, I guess, discredit her. But at the same time, we know that All About the Real Housewives is a pro-Teresa site. They're clearly tree huggers. And my thing is, if you're going to, I hate biased websites. I hate biased people where you're only going to be one-sided and you're going to just completely try to go after a group of people and just always want to make the other side look good. Teresa ain't no damn angel, just like Melissa and them ain't no angel either. And I call them all out equally based off of my observations of what I see. So I don't like those one-sided fan sites. I really don't. Because then y'all try to make two things can be true at the same time. Louis could be like some wild card, vile human being. And Vanessa could be just as bad. I mean, her job was, she's a licensed therapist specialized in narcissistic abuse. So you have a narcissist who works with people who are also narcissists. I believe that it's happened. We've seen, what was it? I was watching something, and there was something where they were people were catching predators, like pedophiles and third. One of the guys who they were tracking turned out to be someone who worked with little kids. So People who have those traits will infiltrate certain compounds and work those type of jobs. It's totally possible that Vanessa could be some narcissistic loony like Louis. But until all that evidence and stuff is out there, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? Louis makes good TV, but there's something off about him. Now, speaking of Louis and them, let's get into this whole Real Housewives situation. So, fans of the Real Housewives of New Jersey want franchise moderator and Watch What Happens Live host Andy Cohen to be put on pause due to the way they felt he belittled the women during the season 13 reunion. Now, fans of the Bravo reality show took to Twitter to specifically express their displeasure over the Watch What Happens Live host yelling at Teresa Giudice to let Joe Gorga talk in last month's trailer. How y'all going about? Child, we going in over a trailer. Y'all don't even know what the context. That's another thing. I had to stop for a second. Y'all don't even know the context of what they're showing you. They're showing you a series of clips to get you guys excited to watch a show. That's what a trailer is. I don't understand how people get all bent up out of shape and start jumping to conclusions over a trailer. We need to see how the episode plays out, and then you can go in with your criticisms. So someone goes and says, it's honestly weird to see Andy yell at the housewives, especially Tree, who has given Bravo so much. They all give a lot on the show. Some more than others, I'll say. But Andy has always yelled at the housewives. Where the hell have y'all been? But all of a sudden, because excuse me, he's yelling at y'all fave, now all of a sudden y'all want to be alert and pay attention. Because look, didn't he go in on Nene and a whole bunch of them? But y'all ain't said a damn word. Now he going after your fave Teresa. Now y'all want to pop, backpedal and pussy pop. Out of here with that. Another agreed tweeting, yeah, Andy needs to be put on pause for a while. More fans accused Cohen, who's 55, of screaming like a maniac and alleged that it's so obvious Andy doesn't really care for Teresa. The producer addressed the massive level of vitriol he has received from viewers on Monday's episode of Andy Cohen Live on SiriusXM. Teresa fans are very upset with me for losing my shit on Teresa, he acknowledged. Cohen recalled being at the end of his rope when he blew his top, but that he has since apologized. I think for all of you who are upset, have a seat in the middle of that for 8 or 10 hours, and then let's see how you handle it. While the Daddy Diaries author doesn't feel regret about the way he acted, he doubled down, saying, I mean, if you keep interrupting at some point, I'm going to lose my shit. When footage of the argument was first revealed, Cohen compared leading the reunion to being the parent of a toddler. I almost walked off at that point, he said, calling Giudice's fight with sister-in-law Melissa Gorga petty and upsetting. I'm actually going to take Andy's side on this, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I do agree. A lot of times, y'all don't realize, but they've said it numerous times. These 3-part reunions, yeah, you're getting 49-minute 3-part episodes. But it's all edited down from literally 12 to 13 hours of them sitting there filming all day about a bunch of stuff, and they have to cut down and get to the meat and potatoes. Teresa and Melissa, with their whiny little voices, going back and forth, with the no, it was you, no, you're a pain in the ass, no, you're a pain in the ass, no, you're a namaste, no, namaste is my word, girl, you are not namaste, so stop using the fucking namaste thing. I actually have a shirt that says namaste bitches, by the way, and I had that long before Teresa Giudice saw this whole namaste that has prayer hands on it, and it says namaste bitches. I saw that on a website because I love a silly t-shirt. And I happened to buy this shirt that said Namaste Bitches on it. And I literally wear that sometimes when I be wanting to have my little peaceful Nambi-Oho Renge Kyo moment. I also have a shirt that says, don't shoot, I'm a white woman. Because there was a picture I saw of a black guy wearing the shirt today. And I was like, oh my God, I have that shirt. I just thought it was hilarious. I love a silly shirt, like I said. But anyway, so when you got Teresa and Melissa acting like fucking 2-year-olds on stage, when y'all all women of a certain age, first of all, Melissa and Joe Gorga are the same age. They're like 44. And Teresa is like, what, 50, 51? And that's why I had to laugh, because they were sitting up there calling Margaret old. And I'm like, Teresa, you and Margaret are literally in the same age bracket. Like, how you calling somebody old? Like, ma'am, you are half a century old. Stop it. My thing is, I just feel so bad that, you know, you have a family that's just falling apart and can't get along. And it's just the bicker and the back and the forth. But I have to say, Melissa did hit with some jabs. She had me cackling at some parts. Especially when she made the comment about the namaste, she shoved up her own ass or whatever. That was funny. She had a couple of moments, and I like the fact that she stood up to Teresa a lot more. Teresa was trying to come with the comebacks, but to me, it was just like you trying to repeat what you were hearing and just throwing it back. That's not really coming at somebody, that's just being a parrot. And then she kept trying to insert, well, you're not going to be here long. I was like, ma'am, you are not a producer. You are an employee who is one of the most popular characters on a franchise. You don't own the show. You don't run the show. You're the most popular on the show. And I also noticed this too. I know a lot of people sitting there like, well, Melissa and Joe and them needs to go, but I noticed something when I watched the reunion. They had the men in separate rooms because I was always wondering how they were going to have the whole men situation. They had dressing room 1 and dressing room 2. Louis was in one dressing room with Bill Aiden. Bill's just going to go where the wind blows. He's just whatever because, Jennifer, who is Teresa's foot soldier, who does anything and everything that Teresa says. And I truly believe that they set up, oh my God, I forgot her damn name. Old girl, the one that carried the bone, to want to tell Melissa about the whole kissing affair type situation, which everybody pretty much knew about. I do believe that Teresa and Jen set her up. Teresa would have made like she didn't have nothing to do with it. She had Jen do the dirty work because Jen's, And then Miss Mamas went and carried the bone and looked like the fool. And she said, oh, I don't think that's what they did. But then cut to the break when she goes in the dressing room. She goes and says, oh, they set me up. Girl, if you going to be real on TV, what they going to do? Beat your ass? You want to come back for another season, right? But anyway, so what I noticed was when they had Bill and Louis in the other room, Joe Gorga had him and all the other men with him in the other room. One of the things I do like about the Real Housewives is besides the back and the forth with the cattiness, I love the fact that the men kind of have their own camaraderie. And to me, Joe has more of the guys on his side than anything. So if y'all remove Joe and Melissa, what's going to happen with that whole dynamic? Now they're going to have to be forced to interact with Louis. Louis, to me, it just doesn't feel... He feels like a wild card to me. I can't really get behind him fully. But part 3 is next week when the men finally hit the stage, and we'll get to the bottom of all that drama. But my thing is this: if you're a grown ass person acting like a child on national television, and I'm the moderator, and you're not letting me do my job because I want to go, no, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. They're going to be doing that back and forth. So I'm going to have to discipline you like a parent and shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. There's only been so much professionalism I can give before I have to cuss and scream at y'all because y'all won't be quiet. But let's not play this whole victim thing because these women know what the hell they signed up for doing this damn show. So they don't get away with that. Okay, so let's do this Vanderpump Rules thing, and then we'll take a little break, and then we'll come back with more stuff. But okay, so I finally watched Vanderpump Rules Part 3. I saw that Lala was on The View. I was literally watching that before as I was setting up for tonight's show. Lala Kent was on there. She was talking about the scandal with her and her ex-husband Randall, but she also talked about the whole drama that happened with the whole Scandoval situation. And I have to say, this Scandoval drama, chat, I done told y'all, I was not a big fan of the whole Vanderpump thing. I could never get into Vanderpump Rules. Shout out to Lisa Vanderpump, who has a new show called Vanderpump Villa, I believe it's what it's called, heading to Hulu. And I think it's going to be based on her new restaurant in Vegas, which I heard Garcelle's son works at that restaurant. So I'm wondering if he's going to be a part of that show. Because, they had him on this current season of Vanderpump Rules where he was hooking up with Raquel, that trifling witch. And there was a whole scandal with him. I guess he was married, and they said he wasn't forthcoming about what was going on between his marriage and if they were separated, but he was also sleeping with the wife every now and again, confusing her, but he was seeing other women. It was a whole situation. Our son is cute, by the way. But anyway, so the whole Scandoval thing, it was just crazy. Like watching all this come unfold, but the real gag was the last 5 minutes of the episode, which from what I know why they were like, because they mentioned it, they were like, so y'all didn't even see part 3, so y'all don't even know what's coming because y'all got big mouths. I was glad that they kept it quiet because I'm sure I would really love to know how the cast reacted. I don't know, it's probably all over social media and stuff. I didn't really look, but I would have really loved to have seen how social media reacted when when the whole drama came out, where all the truth came out, when Raquel was like, oh, I'm willing to spill all the tea now. But she's such an airhead because she was like, oh, I don't want to break Tom's trust. So I don't want to really tell too much because he's the only one I'm speaking to right now. But I'm like, miss, you already spilled a lot of the tea. You discredited everything he said. Like y'all were trying to come up and create timelines and say y'all only had sex one time when y'all basically were having sex the entire time, most of the season, ever since when Ariana had a death in the family and she left to go, deal with that. They try to say that they didn't sleep in her bed, they didn't sleep in the room. They hunched. I truly believe that. But the last minute when she basically was like, no, all the stuff that Tom was saying about the timelines and he was trying to hold back because he didn't want to hurt people's feelings. Her feelings already hurt. You already ruined a situation the minute you came out the gate and was like, you slept with your girlfriend of 9 years, a supposed close friend. And what irritated me about this reunion was the fact that I'm looking at this broad and there's no remorse, no accountability. Oh, I know it's the worst thing I could have done. I was like, ma'am, you sound literally like a narcissistic sociopath who has no emotion and no feelings. Like you're trying to make it seem like you get what you're not getting it. Because I don't see, like, I'm looking at her and I'm like, it doesn't seem she's going through the motions, but there is no emotion there. That to me is a sociopath. And Raquel, to me, while this is great TV and I'm entertained by all the shenanigans, she has got to be the worst person I've ever seen in the history of television. And I don't know how they're gonna move forward with this new season. She talking about she in love with Tom. She ain't in love with him. She in love with being on this TV show and I guess being the biggest villain in reality TV history. I don't know who I can compare her to as being the worst villain in reality TV history. So what you say at the moment? But as someone who never cared for all this white people drama and Vanderpump Rules and all this other mess, child, I'm fully invested. I will definitely be watching the next season just to see how all this unfolds. And I do believe that they'll have to end up filming together because I don't know how they're gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna film with Tom and I'm not gonna film with Raquel. No, y'all need that interaction. We need the drama. Y'all need to keep them ratings. I told you, so many people was watching the show. So shout out to them. I definitely was entertained by this season. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this all turns out. And I'll probably be watching Vanderpump Villa when that comes out. I wonder how Tom's restaurant is doing, because he took a lot of money. He spent a lot of money on that place, and I think because of what happened with the show, a lot of people are taking their anger out on his business. I saw that he performed at Pride. I think it was in Milwaukee or somewhere. Child, I guess these prides are high anybody at this point. And he was there performing with his cover band. First of all, the music was terrible. And I saw that there was a couple of the women, shout out to y'all because y'all petty. They had the signs up that was talking about, Team Ariana and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like people, did you pay your mother back for the money you borrowed from her to open the restaurant? They were going in. He was being trolled at Pride. So The shade was real, and shout out to the shady fam because I live for y'all. But anyway, let's excuse me, let's take this good old break. When we come back, we will definitely we're gonna talk about Tyler James Williams. You know, people have been speculating about his sexuality. So he shut down the haters in a the most perfect way possible. I have to, you know, give him his props. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the straight boxer, OnlyFans creator who blames his same-sex encounter on depression. We're going to talk about Elliot Page, who's been making the rounds on his new memoir and states that an A-list actor threatened to sexually assault him, who didn't believe that they were LGBT or whatever. We got some tea on Bryan Singer, who is attempting a career comeback. We got some tea on Drag Race because they have a book coming out, and they opened up about Valentina's infamous lip sync, and so we have a bunch of Drag Race news that we have coming up. So definitely tune in for that. We're going to be going a little queer heavy in the next half of the show, so don't go away. We'll be right back with more of On the Line. Oh, hey bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
Bisexual.
Oh, you're bisexual.
Yes, for sure.
Let's say you have a relationship with a guy, right? But you just in this relationships cannot get or like cannot get the girl. So and you feel like in need of it. So how do you deal with this? You know, I was always afraid to fall in love with bisexual guy because I always thought I'm not gonna be able to give him everything.
I don't think it's about sex. I think it's about the person you fall in love with. That's what I think. If you are fulfilled with the human being that you're with, then you're good.
What's the hardest part about being bisexual?
That girls think that because you like men, you might be diseased. So a lot of girls automatically assume that I might have gonorrhea or I might have HIV or something.
Really?
Yeah,
So you basically have less chance with the girls?
I think so. I usually have a chance with a girl who's also bisexual.
But more like a top or a bottom, like stuff like that.
I'm glad you asked because I don't think we've like talked about that at all.
Which is usually like in the gay world, the first thing you say is
you're like top, bottom, burst, block.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, very flexible. I'm
you gonna get that date?
Not that kind of flexible.
It's coming out. It's coming out.
I enjoy being both dominant and submissive, and I have my seasons, you know, where I want to top.
Catch him on the right day.
I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna give 110%. I'm gonna complain the entire time, but you ain't gotta worry about me. I also might be late.
Motherfucker. I just think it's so good. Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, it's so good. You can do a comedy. I can't believe that tired ass motherfucker. You can do it sad. Motherfucker. Oh my God. You can do dramatic. That motherfucker. You can do it so many ways. You can even do it like what is it? What's the clown man in all the Marvel DC comics?
Oh, don't ask me.
Motherfucker.
Yes, honey. This is TV NSFW, bitch. Welcome back to the second half of the show, child. And shout out to Keke Palmer because, you know, nobody, in my opinion, nobody says motherfucker quite like Samuel L. Jackson. That's what I think she was talking about was in all the Marvel movies, but they don't say MF her in the movies because, you know, that's the kid, you know, a lot of they want the kid audience to come in. But I think she was talking about Samuel L. Jackson. But yeah, that was funny. And also, if y'all haven't, y'all need to check out her in that interview because when she talks about all the things about Miss Brandy Norwood, the vocal Bible. I know y'all be trying to throw shade with that whole situation, but look, many of people have emulated how Brandy sings in their music, all the different highs and lows and the registers and all that stuff that she does with the music. So y'all gotta stop playing in my girl Brandy face, okay? Just saying. Oh, and shout out because you know y'all saw that whole, you know, first of all, the Vulgar segment. How the hell where the hell they get a damn phone booth from? We don't even have those in New York anymore. And shout out to Father Alpha Omega who basically turned it out with that performance. But I'm like, child, where the hell y'all get a phone booth from? But anyway, let's get right into the show because we're making good time. We like an hour and a half in almost. So where are we? Oh, Tyler James Williams. That's what we're gonna talk about. So while we've all come to know that Mr. Eddie on Abbott Elementary is a great role model for his students, the actor behind him, Tyler James Williams, is also someone they admire, and with good reason. This became abundantly clear as the Emmy-nominated actor took to social media to shut down speculation about his sexuality in a very respectful and meaningful way. Then his brother Tyrell Jackson Williams shared his thoughts on his siblings' response, highlighting why the Everybody Hates Chris alum is a great ally. Now, following the speculation about his sexuality, Tyler James Williams took to Instagram via, took to Instagram to post a story that shut down the assumption people were making about him. Overall, he handled the situation with stern grace, as he wrote in part, "I'm not gay, but I think the culture is trying to find some kind of hidden trait or behavior that a closeted person lets slip is very dangerous. Overanalyzing someone's behavior in an attempt to catch them directly contributes to the anxiety a lot of queer and queer questioning people feel when they hear living in their truth. Well, when they fear living in their truth, sorry. It makes the most pedestrian of conversations and interactions and spaces feel less safe for our gay brothers and sisters and those who may be questioning." He also noted that this kind of assumption reinforces the archetype that many straight men live with, which can limit individual expression. He went on to say, "Being straight doesn't look one way, being gay doesn't look one way, and what may seem like harmless fun and conversation may actually be sending a dangerous message to those struggling with real issues. I refuse to inadvertently contribute to that message." Now, the Golden Globe winning actor went on to show his support for the LGBTQ plus community, and he celebrated Pride Month. He ended with a touching message about being an ally and saying committed to cultivating a future where we will all accept it and give it permission to be ourselves. Following the Abbott Elementary actor's post, his brother Tyra Jackson Wiliams praised his siblings' response in a Twitter thread that read in part, "I love seeing people realize the caliber of person my older brother is. He's always been like this. He is genuinely one of my favorite people." Tyrell went on to praise how his brother handled his and his younger brother's coming out, writing, "He completely deconstructed his views on masculinity and made sure to build spaces for us to be comfortable and seen until we were ready to tell our friends/family. He explained that he and his brothers rebuilt their definition of manhood together, brick by brick, and that his reaction was gender affirming care. Tyrell continued to say that a good ally is someone who allows people the space to express and discover themselves. He also wrote that they also help their loved ones find and access resources and step back and allow them to engage how they need, because your identity is your business." Now, after writing more about the importance of being a good ally, Tyrell ended his thread, by thanking his brother, noting how good his IG stories post was writing. "So I want to give Ty his flowers this Pride Month. A true representation of healthy masculinity and effective allyship. Give him all the awards forever." And this is how, in my opinion, you become an ally. I love the fact that Tyler has gay siblings, and he allowed them the space to be themselves. And like they said, being straight doesn't look one way, being gay doesn't look one way. I think what has happened is that the media has played up this situation where they think, and I've had this conversation the other day because someone went and posted something or another about gay guys not all being effeminate, flamboyant, that sort of thing. Now they have played a huge part in the shift of our culture, particularly when it comes to the LGBTQ community. If it wasn't for trans women, if it wasn't for drag queens, if it wasn't for effeminate gay men being harassed by the police, we wouldn't have had the Stonewall riots. We wouldn't have the things that we have today. Pride parades and this, that, and the other. We wouldn't have a reason to celebrate those things. However, there are other aspects of the community that should be shown, but I feel like the media only wants to show one thing because it's easily identifiable when you see a guy who's effeminate, who wears makeup, who looks like a Billy Porter or RuPaul or that sort of thing. So when you play up those things, they're easily identifiable for people, so they'll be like, this is what gay is. When it's not. We are a complex bunch, sexuality-wise and gender-wise. And with Tyler being there to be an ally and showing that aspect, and myself using my platform to show that there are so many different shades of the rainbow that we want to broadcast, but the media wants to make it easier because we want to label everything and put identity on things. And I feel like as people, we fall into that with all these damn labels. I'm like 50,000 damn labels before I know what the hell your name is. So like he says, is that when you make these assumptions, it reinforces an archetype that many straight men live with. And now, because some people aren't as comfortable as Tyler is, then they feel that I gotta pull back a little bit. Oh, if I stand a certain way, if I sit a certain way, if I cross my legs, if I have my hand like this, whatever, does that mean that I'm gay? Or people are gonna start questioning every little thing? So now you gotta minimize your movements because now you're insecure because of things that people are saying about you. And to me, it's fucked up that how people want to come out here and start labeling people and putting, labels and things on people. And it's like, no, stop doing that. Live and let live is what I say. So shout out to Tyler. I'm here for, you being an ally and speaking up, and we need more people like him out here. That's all you can ask for. Now, we're going to go from this whole Tyler James Wiliams situation where he's shutting down people about sexuality, where I have to applaud the way he went about it, to a story that came out earlier today where somebody decided to backpedal and pussy pop over some shit he decided to do on social media as an adult. So professional boxer Josue Vargas released an official statement to address the recent gay sex tape that surfaced online of him receiving a baloney wash from an OnlyFans creator. Now, you know why I use baloney wash as one of the lyrics on my song, for my new theme song, Chris Avalon Unfiltered. So y'all know what a baloney wash is in case y'all didn't know. The day before, on June 6, 2023, Vargas uploaded the image that gave rise, poor choice of words, to the allegations to his Instagram account, according to RC Online. It featured him and another man cuddling while they were both naked and reclining on a bed. Now, the photo was immediately removed, but not before it was screenshotted and widely circulated on Reddit and Twitter by several individuals. He writes, "First of all, I want to apologize to all my fans, friends, and supporters for supporting the unexpected mess by my sexuality. I wanted to clarify that I have nothing against someone's feelings. However, I am neither bi nor gay. I am straight." He continues with an apology. "I have been battling depression and deal with some serious mental health issues. I never understood what I was until I experienced it. My poor judgment has led to biggest mistake of my life." Upon releasing the statement, fans criticized him for blaming depression, which I wholeheartedly agree with. It's like you out here blaming depression, and some of the memes was funny. But I have to say, at the end of the day, it's like, why you got to sit out here and apologize for who you are? Just be who you are. Figure out who you are. You have a whole OnlyFans where you were getting your knob slobbed by who was it? Because I don't know how I didn't have that. I forgot. So EJ on Demon Time. Now, I have seen EJ on Demon Time's content, because I am a frequent Twitter follower of things, and I do look at porn. Ain't no shame in my game. I know exactly who EJ on Demon Time is. He is literally the throat goat, and has labeled himself as such. Now, I will admit, I do not like how EJ slobs the knob. I don't like all that extra spit. Like, you gotta have it literally slobbing all over the place, all over your chin. It's like, that's nasty. I feel like y'all just sometimes be ODing for the sake of the cameras and ODing. I don't want to smell saliva while you suck it. I'm like, I don't need to smell what you had about. That's nasty. I know I'm probably making it sound more gross than what it is, but I just don't like the visual of just like all that spit just glob. Like, ugh, it's just nasty. Ugh, nah. I don't like it. But the content that EJ does is basically, he films himself going downtown on a lot of guys who look like trade, what we identify as trade. A lot of these guys who kind of embody that hyper masculine thug exterior. And EJ did comment on it, because I did go to his Twitter. And he basically said, y'all know what it is. Like, I'm not gonna come out here and wait, let me go to his page now as I bring this up. Child, why I had to see that big old dick as I go on the page. Where is it? Okay, so I know I saw one of the tweets where he basically said, anyways, I love y'all. Thank y'all for checking up on me. Thanks for always having my back. My supporters know how it went down. Me and Jay promoted it together. There's not much more to say. So my thing is this: when y'all go off and y'all do these OnlyFans videos and y'all making this content, and then y'all want to backpedal and pussy pot when the shit hits the fan. If you go on EJ on Demon Time's Twitter, I believe it's there. Because I'm on his page now. But and then someone wrote and posted, I can't believe you getting all this backlash over a mutually consensual collab between two grown adults. I'm glad you don't have any guilt, but nothing, and no, you are doing just fine. We're still going to support. And I don't like the fact that people go around trying to insinuate, because what he said in that tweet bothered me. Well, not even a tweet. What he said in the post bothered me. Not just about the whole battling depression thing, but when he said, where was it? I want to apologize to all my fans, friends, and supporters for supporting the unexpected mess by my sexuality. I want to clarify that I have nothing against someone's feelings. However, I'm neither bi nor gay. I am straight, saying I've been battling depression and deal with some serious mental health issues. When you sit up here and say that you experience a mental health issue, that is already a stereotype that goes on in our community, where people look at being LGBT or any kind of gay as a mental disease. First of all, that shit was on the books before it was taken off, that being gay was a mental health disorder. That's history. So when you play into that shit because a lot of y'all not comfortable with who y'all are, that pisses me off. And not only that, but it's like, I know how it is. First of all, you're a boxer. You're from New York. And you went on camera filming yourself not only getting head, because that wasn't the only thing that he did, child. But he also was on film, and it's on my page too, that I posted on my Twitter. He was busy churning his own butter with a phallic instrument. So when you sit up in there, got a dildo up in your behind, turning your insides out like you churning butter, and then going to sit up in here and try to blame it on mental health issues and depression. First of all, when it comes to sexuality, I feel like people should be allowed the ability to explore and figure out what it is that they like and what they don't like, because oftentimes we do have it where we've seen a lot of it where women, specifically Black women, will go and talk down about, oh, he gay or he this or that, because there was one artist, I forget who it was, I think it was a reality star or a musician, said that he like getting his ass ate. Yeah, he said, not churning butter. He said, I like getting my ass ate, and he like getting pegged. There's a lot of straight men that like doing that. If a woman is doing it to them, that's not gay. The prostate feels good. People like having their prostate played with. And I feel like it was recent. I know it was Trick Daddy was one of them. But there was another person that came out recently and said that they like getting their ass ate and they like getting pegged. And to me, I hate when people try to make you feel bad for liking what you like. And they wonder why these men go behind people's back and they do things, or they keep a thing a secret. So I know there's this hyper-masculinity culture. I know he's into boxing, which is very straight male masculine oriented. Shout out. There's actually, I just heard they built a gym, a boxing gym, a trans boxing gym in Brooklyn. I was thinking about looking into that. Anybody can come, but it's, it's a trans boxing gym. But I had to pull this tea up because someone sent this to me, and I'm not gonna reveal no source. But when I get tea, I gotta spill it, child. So one of my closest friends said, you know that boxer you posted on your Facebook? I personally know him, and to be honest, I'm not surprised he said this. I'm not going to tell you who it is, because, you know, I like to keep my sources. This is someone who's very close to me that I trust. And I was like, oh, you got some tea you want to spill? So he said, he used to say weird-ish, no one would peep. I paid no mind to it, but you posting that up made me chuckle. He said it was off the record. Chill. Sorry. But it's on the record. I ain't mentioned who you was, but it's tea. I gotta spill it to give context for the show. So he goes, you know, he's his boy. He's not gonna look at him differently, which I appreciate, because he's a close friend of mine, and you know, he's straight. I'm gay. We get along. There's no issues. I prefer that. I have a lot of straight friends, basically. I hang out with my straight friends more than my gay friends, to be honest. But yeah, one of the things is like, you know what? Maybe he's fluid. We don't know this, but you need to allow yourself to go into that. I feel like he's more depressed because he can't be who he is. He's ashamed in some sort of way. But I understand. It's like one of the things we need to talk about is the hood and how Spanish people are when it comes to, you know, guys being LGBT or experimenting or having sex with men and that and the third. But in a way, I always look at it as, if you agree to film, it's like, remember the UFC fighter that was that did a video and had to come out as bisexual that we did? He was cute too. Let me stop being a flirt. But yeah, I just feel like we just need to allow people to just be themselves and stop clowning people for wanting to be, you know, to figure out who they are and their sexuality. And not everybody needs a label. Maybe he's fluid. Fluid, I feel like, is a way better term than how to be like, oh, well, he bisexual, he's this, he's that. Let him figure his shit out. I just feel like maybe the depression's coming from, he doesn't feel that he could be who he is because he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's probably having to support a lot of people in his family. You know how it is when you come in from the hood and you're a successful person. You don't want all that money to drop because, you know, maybe the boxing league don't want to have somebody openly LGBT that they want to represent. But I feel like you wanted to get caught the minute you decided to record yourself with your face showing on camera having sex with another dude, or a separate video, which I saw the still of like I said, you churning butter up in your guts with a phallic object. So when you pegging yourself and you getting blown by a dude, and I get it. He had the phone up and he was looking at it and doing that whole, oh, I'm looking at pussy to keep me hard, but but the guy's going, I'm going to let him, you know, blow me or whatever. That'll be cute to help your narrative, but at the end of the day, like I said, live and let live. I just really wish that we were at a place in this world where we would allow people to just be who they are and explore their sexuality without the labels and the vitriol and the negativity. We are the one country, one of many. I mean, there's people that are worse. Like, I posted something with this trans woman from Cameroon, and I posted on my social media, was thrown in jail for 5 years just for being trans. And she had to escape after 5 years of being in prison, brutally raped every day and beaten up by men. She got out of jail. The people in her country were going to kill her. She had to escape and flee to Belgium, where I believe now she's got citizenship. She's talking about she wants to be an attorney. It was a Vice special that they covered her on, which was really good. Definitely. I posted on my Facebook. I probably posted on I should have posted on my Instagram. I forgot what her name was though. Shakiro, I think is what her name was. It said she was arrested in 2021 and jailed. And, you know, so I know countries that have it worse than us. And that's what we're worried about. But I just really wish that we didn't put so much emphasis on people's sexuality. So I feel for this kid. I just really wish that he could be his true, authentic self. So shout out to Josue. I know I saw, like, child, there was some people out here calling him Jose, but no, it's pronounced Josue. There was a kid that I worked with that's name was Josue. And yes, I wanted to sleep with him. He was cute. But anyway, so yeah, shout out to Josue, and hopefully he gets to, he gets to be free. Free your mind and the rest will follow, as In Vogue once said. Okay, so let's talk about Elliot Page, whose highly anticipated memoir, Page Boy, is out. And the actor is spilling lots of surprising tea. Remember, she revealed she had a relationship with Olivia Thirlby from Juno, who later on came out as bisexual. Elliot in the book opens up about his past relationship with Kate Mara, who I believe is married to, oh my God, the guy that played Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four remake. The one where Johnny Storm was played by Bakari, Michael B. Jordan. I forgot the actor there, but anyway, Kate Mara was in Pose in Fantastic Four. Secretly dating one of his co-stars where not even his closest friends knew. I'm thinking that was Olivia. And how his estranged father, who hasn't spoken to in 5 years, engages in hate posts about him on social media. But the story that truly gagged me was when Elliot revealed a famous actor threatened to rape him shortly after coming out. Page said the actor, who they considered an acquaintance, drunkenly approached them at a party before lobbying homophobic hate and threatening to sexually assault the queer star, saying, "You aren't gay. That doesn't exist. You are just afraid of men." Page recalled the actor saying, "I'm going to F you to make you realize you aren't gay." When Page ran into the actor at the gym a few days later, the unidentified celebrity tried to backpedal and pussy pop on his bigoted statement by saying, "I don't have a problem with gay people, I swear. I think you might," Page responded. Page said he's had some version of that happen many times throughout his life, and that many queer and trans people deal with it incessantly. This is according to People. These moments that were often like, don't talk about, or we're supposed to just brush it off, when actually it's very awful, Page said. I put that story in the book because it's about highlighting the reality, the shit we deal with, and what gets sent to us constantly, particularly in environments that are predominantly cis and heterosexual. He continued, how we navigate that world where you either have more extreme, overt moments like that, or you have the more like subtle jokes. In Hollywood, these are very powerful people. They're the ones choosing what stories are being told and creating content for people to see all around the world. Elliot Page also explained that he opted not to reveal the actor's name, noting that several people at the 2014 party saw and heard what happened that night. He added, but he will hear about this and know it's him. Child, I wish you would have exposed the actor, because the quiet minds want to know. I want to cancel somebody. No shade, but you want to know something? Pause. People, there was people that slid in the comments and said they believe that the person that threatened to, assault Elliot was Chris Pratt. I was like, y'all just hate Chris Pratt so damn much. I don't know if it would be Chris Pratt. I wouldn't put it past him, but I would hope that Chris Pratt wouldn't say something that crazy. Oh, Victor says, just found the Vargas video. I only looked at it for research purposes. Ooh, bitch, yes. Make a YouTube video. I can't wait to see it. And let me know when you drop it, because definitely, if you get the tea, if you find out more, definitely let me know, because I'm like, this is definitely a conversation that I feel that people need to talk about. But you know what? So we got people who aren't comfortable being with their sexuality. We got trans people who, yes, because they want to live and be who they are, like the trans person I mentioned earlier, that I told about with the Vice video that got imprisoned for in 2021, but was supposed to be in jail for 5 years for just being transgender, from Cameroon. Being sexually assaulted every day, and people looking the other way and not helping them. And then she said that if she would have stayed in Cameroon, she would have been murdered. And we've done a story about that before, where there was a trans activist that was all over TikTok, and very popular, that ended up dead and put in one of those metal containers, shoved in a container after they were murdered. Because it's like, when you speak out against your country and you want to be the voice of the voiceless, and speak out against the travesties of your country, who condemn and put people to death for being gay, or just part of the LGBTQ community, They can't even live and be themselves. And then you see HIV and AIDS, skyrocket. But this is sad and this is unfortunate that this is something that people have to endure every day. But you know what? I applaud Elliot for speaking out. And I don't know what the future holds for him as an actor. Is there going to be many more opportunities for, trans people to be working? And will Elliot get more work because now he's a trans man? I know he's got the book, and Elliot always seems to find a way to continue to do what he does. I didn't even see the interview he did with The View because I was busy catching up with that, but I'll definitely catch up with it this week. And I've been keeping a close eye on the whole thing with the book, but it's definitely a book I'm going to add to my book collection. I definitely want to read what he has to say about his relationships and going on in Hollywood. And I'm glad that, it's unfortunate that his father is the way he is, but at the end of the day, you have to be the steerer of your own happiness. And if you got to cut people out of your toxic ass family members out of your life for you to live your life to the best of your ability and authentically, then by all means do it. So now we go on from this to Bryan Singer, child. So Bryan Singer, famous director, is plotting a career comeback by self-financing a documentary addressing the sexual assault allegations that has plagued his filmmaking career. Now, in October 2017, shout out to Variety for this story, by the way, Bryan Singer appeared energetic and in control as he welcomed Olympic diver Greg Louganis and Queen guitarist Brian May on the London set of Bohemian Rhapsody. I already told you, I do not like Bohemian Rhapsody. And I'll get into why I didn't like the movie in a minute. Oh, I'll just say that before I forget. I feel like y'all try to dilute the fact that Freddie Mercury was a gay man. Y'all try to push this whole agenda that he was in a relationship with a woman and he would just dibble dabble every now and again with men. But no, he was a full-on homosexual. But I feel like his bandmates wanted to Disney-fy this movie. And it made a shit ton of money. But I'm with Sacha Baron Cohen. I wanted more of Freddie Mercury being his unapologetic, flamboyant self. And we didn't get any of that. We got a Disney-fied version of a biopic. So that's why I didn't like Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, I liked Rami Malek. I do think he's a phenomenal actor. He did a phenomenal job as Freddie Mercury and he won an Oscar for it. I just didn't like the movie. But anyway, so behind the scenes, chaos reigned behind the scenes of Bohemian Rhapsody. The one-time Hollywood wonderkind's career was about to unravel as Fox executives were growing weary of Singer's prolonged absences and erratic behavior. Now, on December 4th, Fox pulled the trigger and fired Singer, replacing him with Dexter Fletcher, as Louganis and May smiled for photos with the acclaimed director and marked one of Singer's last known days on the film set. Now, getting fired for Bohemian Rhapsody was a public humiliation for a filmmaker who had racked up hit after hit, but a series of personal scandals would dwarf that professional setback. Now, over the ensuing 5.5 years, Singer tried to re-enter the fray with a $80 million remake of 80s action film Red Sonja for Millennium Films. And I remember so many people were attached to that film, including Rose McGowan was supposed to be playing Red Sonja. And I still want a new Red Sonja movie. You know, I love the Brigitte Nielsen one, the original from the 80s, but it could use a remake. The original was cheesy and the acting was atrocious, but we could use a rejustification, more, you know, Game of Thrones, very warrior-esque, very violent, and all that sort of thing was what I like. A lot of killing, a lot of beheadings, lots of sex. But anyway. Then a 2019 Atlantic expose that detailed allegations that Singer sexually assaulted 4 men when they were underage derailed those plans. Singer categorically denied ever having sex with or a preference for underage men. Millennium CEO Avi Lerner initially stood by Singer, dubbing the report agenda-driven fake news, but dropped him when he couldn't find a domestic distributor. Now, though the one in-demand Helmer made studios billions thanks to 4 X-Men movies and Superman Returns, he had become persona non grata in the post #MeToo landscape. Now Singer is quietly plotting a comeback that has been pitching industryites on a slate of films. Sources say the director, who catapulted to A-list status with his twisty 1995 crime film, The Usual Suspects, which in my opinion is one of my favorite movies. It's also got Kevin Spacey in it, but you know. Is looking to return to his lower budget auteur roots with 3 narrative features set in and around Israel, where he has been living in recent years. Singer, who is working without an agent, has been meeting with would-be investors about backing the films, one of which is set in the 70s. They would be made for $10 million apiece. Jason Taylor, who previously served as president of production at Singer's Bad Hat Harry Productions, is producing the films. Now, a representative for Singer declined to comment. Now, even more intriguing, Singer is working on a self-financed documentary about himself and his struggles, says one source who has approached about the project and calls the pitch impressive. According to his pitch, Singer plans to address the allegations of sexual misdeeds and cover his attempt at a career resurrection. The source adds, well, at least we know it will be fair and balanced, one documentary veteran quips. I hope that was sarcasm, by the way. Look, and also let's not forget, these allegations go back to like 1997. So over 20 years ago, on the set of At Pupil, which 2 teenage boys, one 14, the other one 17, filed a civil lawsuit claiming they were ordered to strip naked for a scene. And that was probably the shower scene, because they said that the shower scene in the film, where it was supposed to, I guess, embody, it was a juxtaposition of like kids showering in a locker room shower with the Holocaust and the gas chamber, that sort of thing. So I think they were trying to do that, if I remember correctly. And they actually had the people, those kids in the shower were underage, naked. I remember the scene like it was yesterday. I thought they were of age. I thought it was like, oh, y'all got a bunch of 20-something-year-olds that look like babies, that look like teenagers doing these things, which I always think in Hollywood. But turned out they were underage. So they said they were ordered stripped naked for a scene, while 2 other young actors made similar allegations in separate civil suits. Singer was named as a defendant in the suits, which were settled for an undisclosed sum. He has never faced criminal charges, I should point out, by the way. So, I don't know. They said there was a couple of them. They said if Singer is able to relaunch his career, he will be one of the few artists accused of sexual harassment or assault to have staged a comeback. Morgan Freeman survived a 2018 CNN investigative piece in which 8 women accused him of harassment and inappropriate behavior, going on to star in Lerner's Hitman Wife's Bodyguard 3 years later, and even presenting at an Oscars in March. Dustin Hoffman, who retreated from studio fare after claims by 7 women of harassment or assault, is reprising his role as the voice of Master Shifu in next year's Kung Fu Panda 4. But for most accused celebrities, a mainstream return has provided elusive. I should also point out that, you know what? Bryan Singer is also set to work on a documentary on the life of Greg Louganis. Now, you know, Greg Louganis is an icon within the LGBTQ community. You know, being a swimmer who wound up HIV positive and had to give it up because they found out about his status. I love the TV made-for-TV biopic they did with Mario Lopez played him. It was actually a good movie. But I think maybe Greg Louganis might want to find a new investor, because I would not get behind Bryan Singer doing anything, especially with the reputation of him having the pool parties. There was the article that happened where it was some guy that worked as an assistant or something or another that he was seeing that he was supplying with drugs and this, that, and the third. And I had another person hit me up today with some tea, saying that allegedly, I shouldn't say that because I'm not trying to get sued. I'm going to channel my inner Sonny Hostin. Said that they had firsthand experience seeing some shit with their own eyes that Bryan Singer did allegedly. They said, I'll just say 3 things. A club called Rush, pills, and underage boys. Wasn't me, but I was witness to it. Was in my very early clubbing days. And this person I know is a club promoter that does quite a few sex parties in New York City. And that's all I'll say. But they said that it happened, that they've seen Bryan Singer firsthand have drugs and underage boys around him at a gay club called Rush. So, do I believe the allegations? I've always believed the allegations. And to me, Apex Predator coming out with a documentary where he's putting someone on blast or trying to control the narrative by coming out with their own documentary about accusations the way he sexually assaulted someone. First of all, if you are so innocent, why'd you retreat to a whole nother country and not in America? You pulled a Roman Polanski. You decided to move to Israel. I would have saved my ass in LA if I was innocent. And to me, this is no different than like a like I would say, if a R. Kelly or Harvey Weinstein, a Dr. Luke, or even a Bill Cosby came out and decided to do a documentary. To me, I feel like you're re-traumatizing your victims. But I've heard way too many stories about Bryan Singer for this to all just be so damn coincidental. So when the documentary comes out, I will say this: if it does get if it does happen, if distributors pick it up and it ends up on like a Max or Amazon, wherever, a Netflix, if I get to see it on the streaming service, I will definitely watch it out of curiosity because I need to know the team. It'll be grist for the mill for the show. But if he's out here laying low, and if he goes up and tries to say, like, oh, I never did this, and they're making them lies and this, that, and the third, then I can't get behind it, because too often, if somebody's going to self-produce and finance their own documentary addressing allegations against them, of course it's not going to be fair and balanced. Of course it's going to be one-sided. So, good luck, Bryan. I don't see you having a career comeback, but Hollywood has rallied behind worse people. We've seen it firsthand. Okay, so speaking of books, because, you know, we got people coming out with documentaries, we got people coming out with books. I got some Drag Race tea. And the funny thing was, I was sitting there talking about, why hasn't Drag Race ever come out with a book regarding stuff that goes on behind the scenes with the show? And I said, somebody really needs to write one, because we've heard so many stories, especially like with Naysha Lopez has been on, you know, Roscoe's, the viewing party, and she spills a lot of tea as much as she can that doesn't violate her NDA. Spilling tea about the show. We've had people talk about how the production has been a problem and all this other stuff. So there actually is a book about RuPaul's Drag Race, and it has tea about Wiliams' disqualification, Jujubee's crazy lip sync, and Valentina's mass mayhem. Wait, they're actually I may have to read that article, because I didn't know I know about the whole the disqualification, because Willa was on the Sissy That Talk podcast with Joseph Shepard. Shout out to him, because your girl got in trouble, Miss Tyra Sanchez. We're about to get into that story in a second too. But anyway, so let's talk about the book, which is called And Don't Fuck It Up. Or should I say in Spanish, Y no la cares? An oral history of RuPaul's Drag Race. That was me trying to do Supreme from Drag Race España. But anyway, so the book is called An Oral History of RuPaul's Drag Race, in quotes, the first 10 years, is the newest peek at everything behind the scenes of the Juggernaut TV show, right from a Burbank basement set all the way to snatching Emmy Awards. And I love the fact that, like, with RuPaul's Drag Race, it started out in a basement where they filmed it on a small little set they was like, let's just get through the first season. We had 10 queens, or was it 9? And we had these little challenges, whatever, and it was cute. And they managed to turn this into a juggernaut. There's another show I kind of wish would do that, but I don't want to give them light, because I have a similar idea. And when I see how their show is doing with the promo photos and this, that, and the third, I was like, oh, my show idea is safe. I'll give you a hint. Oh, because their promo photos look a mess. The show looks cheap. The set looks like it's designed from like Party City fabric. It looks a whole mess. I'm not gonna go there. Well, I did go there, but I'm not gonna fully reveal what it is, because whatever. But anyway. So the show is currently airing its 8th All-Star season and 15 seasons of its flagship program. Spin-offs across the globe, including ones from UK, Mexico, and Canada, have provided more gag-worthy twists than a queer viewer could wish for. Now, in new interviews with stars, producers, and fans, the book is set to blow the fabric walls off the workroom wide open in an oral, no giggling please, history of the show's first 10 years, right from Bibi Zahara Benet's entrance in season 1 in 2009. Now, one of the show's most gag-worthy moments came when a series 9 fan favorite, Valentina, now the host of Drag Race Mexico, refused to take off her mask during a lip sync to determine the season's top 6. Castmate and eventual All-Stars 5 winner Shea Coulee sheds new light on the event in the book, saying, I remember the music starting, and about 30 seconds in, I felt everyone started looking side to side at one another, she remembers. Is she going to leave that on, or is she going to take that off? Then I would see Michelle Wiliams, one of the judges, turning to Rue and saying, I could see the crew looking at one another. Randy Barbato, one of the founders of drag race production company World of Wonder and executive producer of the show, describes the lip sync as a effing moment. He adds, the producer and me was happy for it to play out a little, but knew we were going to have to stop this, and Rue was going to know how. It was bittersweet because we love Valentina. I thought it was a stunt, but there were indications backstage that maybe she wasn't prepared. Probably because she thought she wasn't going home. And don't forget, it also reveals how 2-time runner-up Raven came to be RuPaul's on-set makeup artist. As it transpires, not everything in Hollywood is glamorous. She was going through a drive-thru with her boyfriend when she got the call. One of the producers phoned me and asked me what I was doing the next day, she recalls. I was leaving for Louisville, Kentucky on a 3-city tour, and they said, well, we need to know if you could come in tomorrow to do Rue's makeup. So many things were going through my head. We hung up, and then he called back, and I could hear Rue in the background. They were basically begging me to come. I got off the phone and I remember crying. I looked at my boyfriend and I said, they just called me to be Rue's makeup artist. In 2020, Raven became the season's first contestant to win an Emmy for Outstanding Contemporary Makeup for a variety of nonfiction reality programming. Elsewhere in the book, Jinx Monsoon, winner of both Season 5 and All-Star 7, admits that some broadcast incidents of her narcolepsy were played up for the camera. Of course they were. To me, the moments are obvious. When I'm falling asleep trying to write my jokes for the roast, that was real. When I'm in the middle of a sentence and all of a sudden it cuts to me and I'm asleep, that was played up, she admits. So, in case you were wondering, and don't fuck it up, an oral history of RuPaul's Drag Race, the first 10 years, is available now. So, if you're looking to buy the book, definitely get your hands on it. It's $30. And I'm sure it's definitely got all the great tea that we need. But, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing Valentina on Drag Race Mexico. Like I told you, I haven't really particularly gravitated towards a lot of the Drag Race spinoffs, but it's definitely one that I'm curious to check out because she's attached. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I know Drag Race France about to start up in season 2. I didn't even know they filmed season 2, but it's coming. And then they recently announced this week that Drag Race Canada is coming back later in the year, as well as Canada versus the World season 2. I don't know why we still doing these versus the Worlds. I did not like any of the versus the Worlds. I thought we were going to do the global Drag Race. Why aren't y'all focusing on that? But anyway, good luck, y'all. I definitely am going to get that book and check it out. Now, speaking of Drag Race, because we went from Raven, who a lot of people feel that Raven was robbed during her season, but guess what? At the end of the day, she wound up becoming Rue's makeup artist after Matthew wound up getting put in the hospice, so he couldn't do her makeup and stuff anymore. So now you got Raven. She moved on up. She beats Rue's face, and everybody's like she should have won her season, but she didn't. Tyra Sanchez won. So it is what it is. And, you know, I was rooting for Tyra. I was, you know, in the words of Tyra Banks, the other Tyra, we were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you, damn it. So Tyra wound up getting in trouble because apparently she got into it with the police. She wound up in the handcuffs. Shout out to Metro for this story. Now, the star, whose name is James Ross and is also known as King Tyra, won the 2010 series of the popular drag competition, instantly giving a major boost to her profile and career. However, she has gotten into trouble with the law since, as in 2020, she was reportedly arrested excuse me, in Atlanta for vandalism, having allegedly spray painted the building she lived in. The star was again arrested in May and charged with resisting or obstructing an officer with violence and an assault on an officer. Now, according to an arrest report seen by TMZ, Sanchez was in a minor car accident with another driver, and when officers arrived on the scene, they alleged she began shouting at them. The report goes on to say that the officer tried to calm her down, but when she wasn't compliant, they tried to handcuff her. That's when she threatened to shoot the driver, allegedly. They then said Sanchez tried to reach into her car, but the officer getting her into a bear hug and deploying a taser, but Sanchez still escaped on foot and was arrested a short distance away. She was arrested for assault on a law officer and resisting without violence, the report says. Sanchez, who's 35, was arrested in 2020 after police responded to a call reporting vandalism at an apartment complex, with a guard telling authorities somebody has spray painted "Don't move here ever" onto the side of the apartment building. Jesus. TMZ claimed at the time Sanchez was a resident at the building and said to have not had paid rent in months. A spokesperson for Fulton County Jail confirmed her arrest in metro.co.uk at the time, stating Mr. James Williams Ross was booked into the Fulton County Jail yesterday. The now retired queen won season 2 RuPaul's Drag Race and has been banned from DragCon's 2018 event after she threatened some of her classmates, which was Tatiana and oh my god, Morgan B. Michaels. Oh no, I forgot her damn name. But Tyra, I've been a fan of yours for a long time, but yeah, some of the stuff you've been doing has been a little too much. It's been problematic. I don't know what's going on with you, girl, but you need to get it together. Like you're getting mad about things, and you're spray painting buildings, don't ever move here. Then you're getting into fights with cops. Luckily, thank the Lord, you weren't, shot, because people get trigger happy out here in these streets. But whatever is going on with you mentally, please get yourself together. I really would love to know what your side of the story is. Hopefully you'll go on social media and you'll, reveal your side of the story. But this is unfortunate. Someone who has so much potential has gone down this downward spiral. I saw some people in my comments on social media talking about, I hope she whooped their ass. Like they were Team Tyra. I don't know what the whole gist of the story is based off of what we just read. So that's all I could, reference at this point. But you know what? And I saw that James was, King Tyra was attempting at a comeback. Like he's been doing these, these, I think it's called Club Renaissance or something or another. He was doing these type of little events, like, doing Beyonce performances of the Renaissance songs, all this other stuff. And I've seen her, she's been performing around town. She's gotten back into drag. So they said she retired, but she hasn't retired. I think she came out of retirement because I've been seeing Tyra performing in a lot of places. So shout out to her, and hopefully she can get this whole situation straightened out. Now, we had mentioned Wiliams earlier, with Drag Race and the whole, you know, that she's in the new book and Don't Fuck It Up and all that other stuff. But now she's putting the nail in the coffin that is All Stars. That earlier this month, Willam, who appears on the Hulu reality competition series Drag Me to Dinner, was asked by a fan on Twitter if she has ever considered doing All Stars. Now here's what she said. She said, I don't foresee myself on RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. I'm on another TV show right now which pays the queens what they're actually worth for helping make great television. At Hulu, hashtag Drag Me to Dinner, now streaming. And if you're stuck on me being on something starry, try A Star Is Born. She also went on to say, I would have to do 10 episodes of Drag Race as a contestant to make what I did on one episode of Drag Me to Dinner if we are talking what the girls get for regular competition, not All Stars. Because someone went and asked about how much is the difference at Hulu pays more, like a rough estimate. And that's crazy that a lot of these girls, you know, they want to go on RuPaul's Drag Race for this opportunity of a lifetime. But to me, it's like they're practically going broke, spending all this money to go on a TV show only to be eliminated after like the first or the second episode. So you never really get to see them showcase all the fashions that they brought for the show because they've been eliminated. They would have to post it either on a Patreon to make money or on their Instagram. These are the outfits I would have worn as I did the runway challenge. That's what it's resorting to. Mind you, I just spent $20,000 to come on a reality show, and you're not going to even see what I brought to the table. So, I would have to say, I didn't particularly care for Drag Me to Dinner. I tried to get into it. I just couldn't. I mean, some of the stuff was hit and miss. I loved Sherry Vine and Jackie Beat. I didn't particularly think that Ben de la Creme and Jinx Monsoon were funny. And they usually bring it when it comes to the whole... Maybe it's the Drag Race edit. Maybe they know how to edit people better over there. I don't know. But they just were not giving me what I needed on Drag Me to Dinner. And plus, Neil Patrick Harris and David Burke irritate me. I don't know. I just feel like this is some sort of nepotism type situation. You want to give your man a job. Neil, MPH, to David. He wanted to give his man a job, so that's what that was giving me. And the drag queens really weren't giving me what I needed. I didn't even like Bianca Del Rio on the show, and I have to say, I live for the fact that so many drag queens are getting work. Like, I loved seeing like Bianca on there and Murray Hill and so many of the drag industry icons, people who weren't necessarily on Drag Race but are well known within the drag world. Seeing them getting work, especially like Sherry Vine and seeing them on TV and this and the third, I love that opportunity for them. I just didn't like the execution of Drag Me to Dinner. But I'm glad that Willam was able to make a good enough amount of coin from being on the show, and that they actually pay you your worth. Maybe I need to take my idea over to Hulu. But is Hulu about to? Isn't Hulu about to go bye-bye soon? Like, I think they're supposed to be merging with Disney, and we're not even gonna have a Hulu. I kind of wish we would keep Hulu because I don't want to just go with the Disney stuff. But anyway, shout out to you, Willam. And plus, she don't really need Drag Race, in my opinion. Willam's career is just fine where it's at, without having to resort to going on Drag Race to give some relevancy to her career. She's got the Mom Moguls of Media Network, which some people think is a play on WoW. You know, and all the shows, Delta Work, you had Joseph Shepard had his show over there, the Sissy That's All podcast. Big Dipper and Meatball have a show on Moguls of Media. Alaska and Willam do their podcast with Moguls of Media. So, and that's a network that Willam and Alaska own together. So she's doing perfectly fine without Drag Race. She doesn't need the show. And plus, if she were to come back, how do you think that interaction between her and Rue would be? Because she's had some choice words for Rue in the past. All right, so let's move on to our final topic, which is RuPaul's Drag Race winner Sasha Colby and Pole star Angelica Ross have revealed what they feel are the biggest misconceptions about trans people. Legendary drag performer Colby has become a beacon of hope for trans youth ever since storming the victory in Drag Race Season 15 earlier this year. She's given the middle finger to anti-trans legislator through her performances, mocked J.K. Rowling for her so-called gender-critical views, and even had a shout-out in the U.S. House of Representatives. Now she's tackling some of the biggest myths, lies, and fairy tales told about trans people as part of the ABC News' Freedom to Exist Pride special, which came on already, by the way. It's on Hulu if you guys want to check it out, because I believe Elliot Page is a part of it too. Now, with hundreds of pieces of anti-trans legislation being advanced in the US and UK politicians across the political spectrum forcing the conversation about trans equality into the gutter, there have been a lot of room for disinformation to spread. Myths include the idea that a majority of trans people regret transitioning as accessing gender-affirming care, or the notion that being trans is a social contagion sweeping the younger generation. Then there's the idea that trans people are inherently dangerous, feeding into the harmful groomer narrative that's persisted against the LGBTQ plus community for decades. In her interview, Colby said, "I think the biggest misconception about trans people is that we are tricking people," seemingly referring to the moral panic around trans people supposedly lying about their identity to access female-only spaces. "This is specifically so we can move freely in our skin," she said, of why people transition. "It isn't putting an agenda on anything. Only the strong can do this. We wouldn't want everyone to experience this unless it was needed." A lot of the time, you couldn't get a job as a trans person. You can't get insurance. You can't get the normal things. You always on the fringe. For them to think that we want to be treated that way is crazy. Another misconception Colby highlighted was that trans people historically don't offer anything to society, adding that they offer so much knowledge and patience and guidance, especially to younger queer kids who need it. Now, American Horror Story star Ross chimed in to say that the biggest misconception she sees about trans people is around why people think it's a choice to be trans. Oh, sometimes I have to laugh at this because the stupidity that people come up with to justify their ignorance astounds me. Nobody would choose, just like when it comes to being gay, nobody would choose to wake up one morning and choose to be bullied and belittled. We just want to live our lives the way we want to live. Trans people just want to live in the body that they feel that they're the most comfortable in, not the body they were assigned to at birth, because that's not who they are. So they want to get plastic surgery and all these other different things that make them feel comfortable in the skin they're in. What business of yours to critique that, or to tell someone that they're wrong, they're a damn abomination? So Ross said, "It is a choice, and it's hard to understand when the choice I'm talking about is choosing yourself. That's the choice. Those who hold bigoted views about trans people or enact anti-trans legislation are doing so because they are not choosing themselves. That's the jealousy. That's the hatred. People seeing trans people make a choice to choose themselves, and they can't make that choice themselves. I don't mean that everybody wants to transition, but everybody wants to be free." Absolutely. Yellow Jacket star Nicole Maines and the Umbrella Academy's Elliot Page also appeared as part of the ABC special, with the latter revealing how gender dysphoria during his teen years left him feeling self-disgust. That's another thing too. When you go through puberty and this and the other, that's like when you're going through all these different changes and you're trying to become comfortable and in your own skin, and you're not feeling it because your body's going through all these changes and the hormones and all that other stuff. So shout out to them. I'm definitely going to check this special out, because I didn't even know it existed, because I really haven't been, I've been behind on a lot of TV lately. It's just been it's been a crazy month so far. Like, it's Pride Month. I'm trying to go out and do things and this, that, and the third, and Like I said, I've been getting home late, so I've really had the time. By the time I get home, I'm exhausted. I haven't had time to like really sit down and get into a lot of shows and a lot of movies, a lot of programs and this and the third. So, but don't cry for me, Argentina. It just is what it is. But I love what people like Sasha Colby had to say. And I have to say, like, as long as we have people like a Sasha Colby, a Laverne Cox, a T.S. Madison, who T.S. reason why she put T.S. in her name is so that way people know she's transsexual. She's like, I'm not trying to trick y'all. Y'all, you know what it is off the rip. And for those out there, there are those few that come out and they play these little games. Y'all know who y'all are. I'm not giving y'all the energy and the platform for that. I want to focus on the people that are making the positive changes in the world, the people that continue to speak out on trans issues and not be the coon of the LGBT community like Caitlyn Jenner, that clown. So I want to focus on the people that are really out here speaking for the community, such as Sasha Colby, Laverne Cox, Angelica Ross, MJ Rodriguez, Dominique Jackson, Janet Mock. There's so many others that's out here. Hope Giselle. There's so many other girls that's out here who are in the community that are really speaking out on the issues that plague the community, especially trans women, because trans girls, they're the ones under attack. So I'm here for y'all. You know, I'm an ally. So I live for my trans people. I live for my trans community. I love all my trans people. And, you know, I always go to bat for y'all in a second. But anyway, so we are at the end of today's show. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back with Chris Avalon Unfiltered, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I'll definitely keep you guys abreast and up to date on that. I know Folsom Street East is next week, bitch. I'm trying to take my ass to them shenanigans. So if you see me carrying, mind your business. I'll say that. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. And until next time, ciao, darlings. Oh, hey, bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch.
This is for faggots.